Hey guys, so this is just a short video on a speed flying crash that I had in May 2019. Quite a bad crash. Could have been really bad, could have been potentially fatal, but I got away with it fairly luckily, given the footage, which you'll see in a sec. I'm going to play the footage first, and then afterwards I'm going to just touch on kind of what happened and some fairly important information, so if you wouldn't mind just sticking around for that. But here's the footage.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so pretty gnarly, eh? So essentially what happened was complacency. I had got to the hill and I was expecting a headwind. I'd never flown that location before. I'd never seen the location. Got to the top of the hill and it was quite steep, kind of undulating, and I wasn't keen on it. Nil wind, but I thought, you know what, it'll be fine. I'll just launch anyway. I started running, the wing came above my head, inflated, and then I went over a slight dip in the ground. At that point, it had loaded the wing, and I was essentially flying for a second. I hit the ground again, unloaded the wing, and then I tripped. And as I tripped and fell forward, the wing didn't have me at all. It wasn't pulling me off the hill. I put my left hand down to stop the fall, and just at that point, the wing caught me, and I started spinning in the harness. As I spun in the harness, I tried to grab the risers to stop myself from completely twisting. And then I hit the ground again. That spun me around in the harness completely, and the wing flew me off the edge of the cliff backwards, essentially. And you can see in the footage the wing starts diving to the right, which was just luck. And you know, I wasn't in control of this at all at this point. This was just sheer luck. The wing went right, because to the left, you can see in the footage, there's a big gully, huge ravine. If I had went in there, that would have been game over. So yeah, the wing dove to the right, and I started smashing into all the rocks. You know, it would smash me in, the wing would fly away, and I would smash in again. After about 20 seconds, you can see there's a lot of spinning going on. Basically, the helmet got ripped off my head, and then that continued on down the hill and rolled until it came to a stop. I bounced a few more times and then came to rest in a kind of flatter part of the cliff or hill mountainside. At that point, I checked myself, made sure that there was nothing major. I hadn't broken any femurs or anything kind of major blood loss. I was bleeding from my elbow. I thought both my ankles were broken, couldn't walk, they were highly swollen. And at that point, I called my friend who was down the bottom at this point, because I thought he'd seen this happen. He went and then raised the alarm. Glencoe Mountain Rescue Team were on site pretty quickly. They were first on site. They made the assessment that they couldn't get me off. You know, that it was, given the terrain, it was too steep. So they made the assessment to call HM Coastguard. They came with the helicopter, casevaced me, airlifted me off the mountainside, gave me some Gucci drugs, and took me to hospital. Hospital staff were great. And in terms of injuries, everyone thought that both my ankles or feet were broken, but the x-rays showed that there were no breaks. I had some fairly extensive ligament damage. I had burst my elbow open and chipped the bone inside there, so they were fairly worried about that, because that was full of the mountainside, full of dirt. So I had an operation on the elbow, and then I just had kind of moon boots on and stuff, and I had kind of cuts and bruises, but that was pretty much it. in the extent of the injuries department, so I was very, very lucky. It could have been a lot worse than that. So I count myself very lucky, and complacency is what caused it. Hello, little man. Little guy's coming to say hi. So yeah, don't be over complacent is the answer. I didn't like the launch, but I thought it'll be fine, and it might have been fine. You know, 99 times out of 100, had I not tripped, it would have been fine. But you've got to give yourself these margins. You've got to allow, when you're flying, it was a 9-meter wing. It was a 9-meter original Mirage, Swing Mirage wing. And when you're flying these kind of high performance wings, there's less margin for error. And you've got to just account for that kind of stuff. You know, 99 times out of 100, you'll be fine. But that one time where things are going to go wrong, do you have the margins? Have you given yourself enough of a run? Do you have a bailout option? And I just didn't give myself any of that. So yeah, I was very lucky. But I've got to say thanks, a massive thanks to everyone involved. My friend Martin, he was the other guy I was flying with on that day. He initially raised the alarm. Glencoe Mountain Rescue Team were first on site. They were amazing. The Coastguard helicoptered me off and got me to hospital, and obviously all of the hospital team as well. On that, Glencoe Mountain Rescue are an amazing team of volunteers. They are volunteers, they're all unpaid, and they get very little government funding. They've got a little bit of police funding and a little bit of government funding, but they wouldn't be able to carry out the operations that they carry out if it wasn't for public donations. So on that point, I just want to try and solicit some money from people. Essentially, they're running a fundraising campaign at the moment to expand their base of operations. I will be donating what I can to that fundraising campaign, and essentially a part of the purpose of this video is to try and raise awareness there, and hopefully if you can get some people to donate what they can, if they can, and if they can't, at least if you could share the fundraising page, which I'll link to below the video, that would help immensely. I think I've touched on everything I wanted to touch on. If there's any questions anyone has, shoot me a message, I'll answer anything that I can. I might make a further video after this, just kind of slowing things down, showing out what went wrong, and trying to go into a bit of a better explanation. But thanks very much for watching.